Namaskar. Welcome to Awakening with Brahma Kumaris. Welcome, sister.
Om Shanti.
Sister, we're doing Going Beyond. And I was thinking that we've done Going Beyond control and hurt and so
Jealousy,
many jealousy, anger. Some more C's were there. And now I was thinking of guilt. As you know that last time I told you about my brother's death from Hyderabad where we're shooting here. I pulled him in my car, said, let's go to Bombay. You're not too happy here. Come, let's have fun and enjoy. And on the way, my driver, thank God he was driving. Otherwise, I didn't know what my guilt would have been. And he died on the way. And guilt was so tremendous that it's impossible to even explain. You won't even believe how painful that guilt was.
And what was happening because of that?
What was happening? Tell me what was not happening. Everything wrong was happening. Each time, morning to evening, every day, the thought was that I pulled my brother in my car, I killed him, look at his children, now it's my duty to take care of his children. And whatever things he used to like to eat, if I would see, I said, how can I eat this? He loved this kind of a thing. He loved this. He did this. 24 hours, I used to live in that. And in the morning, 2:45 a.m. in the night, in the morning, the accident took place. And that time, exactly at that time, every night, I would be just as if somebody has poured 2 buckets of water on me. And my wife was so tired of me, she used to keep a set of my night dress and an empty bucket there. I would change those clothes, wear a new night suit and sleep every morning at that time.
Every morning for
Yes.
how long?
Almost more than a year. And I had a balcony on the 7th floor looking at the sea, and it was sunrise. And I would just say, look, God is such a cheater. There is a horizon, which is not the truth. The sky is blue, optical illusion, not the truth. Sky and earth never meet. The earth moves as if, and it looks static. Cheater. Sun looks as if it sets. When you said sunset and sunrise, another cheating. I used to say, I was so disillusioned. I said, everything is a lie. Why me? Why me? Why me? And nobody on earth could help me in this, not even medicine.
Guilt.
Very bad guilt.
You know, one of the most depleting emotions. All the emotions that we've discussed in the last few days are of course depleting because they consume energy, and the energy is not of a very right quality because they are negative thoughts. But one of the most depleting emotions is guilt. Even anger is easier to handle, jealousy is easier to handle, hurt is easier to handle, but guilt, very tough to handle.
I know that.
Yeah, and you've experienced it. What you shared with us was a situation which magnitude is slightly big. But the guilt that you experienced was also very, very deep. And it just became everything in your life, as if the whole life was being driven by that emotion of guilt because you were not being able to move away from yourself. See why guilt is very dangerous, because guilt is that emotion, that anger, which we inflict on ourselves. When you're angry, you inflict anger on other people. You shout at them. They might listen to you, they might not listen to you. They might protect themselves, become immune, and they say, anyways, they keep talking like this, so I don't care. So you inflict the anger on them but they might not get very affected. Acha, even if they take what you're saying to them, they have a reason and they will say, they said like this, but I don't think I was wrong. I think what I worked and the way I did it was fine. So they are internally, even if they don't say anything to you, they can deny your anger. They don't accept your anger. They do not feel that what you're saying to them is right. Let's say you shout at me for something and I feel what you're saying is not right. That anger, the emotions will reach, but the sentence, what you say to me, will not have too much of impact because I'll tell myself, I know what I did. They just keep shouting at me for nothing. So I do not accept your sentence as the truth. So I deny your anger. So it does create pain. It is damaging.
But
it
you
is
can
depleting,
deny there.
but I can deny there. And second, over a period of time, I can even just not accept it at all. And most important, when you're angry with people, it's once in a while. You can, even if you're angry 10 times in a day with the same person, it will be on an average 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. How much more than that? But guilt,
It's 24 hours.
24 hours. Anger with myself. So basically, I have to live 24 hours with the person who's getting angry with me. And 24 hours that person chooses to be angry with me. Now see what is the magnitude of the emotion that will get created. And most important, the reason why the depletion is so much, I do not deny what that person is saying to me. When others get angry with me, I deny. I deny and I hold them responsible. I blame them for what it is. But when I inflict it on myself, whom would I have to blame?
Myself.
Myself. So double damage. One, blaming myself, then angry with myself, and the pain of the anger also to myself, inflicting everything onto myself, and for 24 hours. So what will happen internally to the soul? And like you said, that every morning at exactly the same time, the
2:45
body,
a.m.
see the power of the emotion. We've always heard, in fact, you shared with us that anger has an effect on the body because those cortisols and adrenaline get secreted. But look at this deep programming that has taken place. The mind created fear or anger. Anger in a different sense, anger with myself, fear because of what had happened.
And the traumatic experience.
The traumatic experience. But which has left such a deep impact that exactly at the same time, the same emotion is getting created every day for over a year.
Every night, every morning, yeah.
You see the deep impact of the emotion on the body? And we would say, oh, it's a situation, it's over, it's past. It's not past here. Over here, it's present. Why is it present? Because 24 hours I'm saying the same thing to myself. And because I'm saying the same thing to myself, like what we saw last time, I'm making the past into the present. It's actually your guilt, not the situation, not the accident because of which you woke up every morning at 2:45. It's not the memory of the accident because of which this happened.
The guilt and the shock.
But because it was not healed, na? Every day you
because they forced him to come in my car.
Okay, it's not about the situation. Now we understand. This situation can happen with so many people. It must have happened with other people also. Everyone will not experience the same magnitude. Everyone will definitely not go through the same trauma at the same time, on the same day. This is very rare. Very rare. But why is the mind creating? Because I'm living with that accident the whole day. I haven't yet deleted it. Not even deleted it, I haven't even faded it out. For me, it's living, it's the present, and that's why my mind is able to create the same emotion all over again every day, and the body responds all over again every day. If you would have worked on your emotion at that time, the guilt, with knowledge, understanding, and meditation, your body would not have done this at the same time every day. It's all about understanding so that I'm overcoming that fear and insecurity that I have created at that moment. When we understand guilt, okay, we've done something wrong. In this case, it was not even wrong. It's just that in this case, an action of yours created this kind of a damage for someone else, which was so big. But you were not wrong. But we hold ourselves as wrong because the result of what we did was not right. But sometimes also certain things we do which we feel were wrong. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have said this. Some people feel they didn't take care of their parents while the parents were there. They didn't take care of their siblings or whatever. And now, suppose the person has left the body, and then they will live with that guilt. I should have done that. I was wrong. Why did I not do it this way? Had I done it this way, they would have been happy. I was responsible for their pain. It goes on and on. When we create this thought that I was wrong, then someone in our childhood also said that those who do wrong are bad people. Every time we made a mistake, the parents would say, bad boy, bad girl. So wrong and bad just comes together. Because earlier, when it was fed inside, it was always fed together. And which means, when I do wrong, I'm a bad person. This becomes very, very deep ingrained. And very soon, it's less to do with what I have done. And it's more to do with who I am as a person. And I say, I'm not a nice person. I'm a bad person. And then I start hating myself. And spirituality helps us to separate the deed from the person. Like we discussed about anger and assertiveness. So anger was inflicted at the person and assertiveness was at the deed. Okay, the deed was not right. So now let's look at whatever we've done in the past, mistakes that we've made, and just separate myself from my mistake. Yes, what I did was not right. I should not have done this. But now what power do I have?
Separate myself from my mistake.
Yeah, separate.
And then?
Like you shared last time with us, you said a wrong word to somebody. Now one is, how did I speak like this? How could have I said this? This is not right. I'm not a nice person. I always hurt people. I always get angry. My anger is always the cause of pain for other people.
I'll never joke with people.
Yes.
I'm too old and I should take care of what I speak.
So now I have entangled my identity with my deed. And now it's less about the deed and more about me, the person. And I say, I am not a nice person. Why? And it's also sometimes because the other person who had created the hurt also doesn't separate me from the deed. And they create this thought. They will not say, that person said a wrong word. They'll say, they're not nice people. So we've got into this habit of connecting the deed with the identity of the person. So now we need to separate it out. I am a pure soul. First, most important, this is my identity. Even if the mistake that I made was very, very, very big, but I'm a pure, beautiful, complete, peaceful soul. At that particular moment, I was disconnected. I forgot my originality. I forgot my royalty. I forgot who I am. And because of that ignorance, and because I got into ego, because if I'm not soul conscious, then I'm body conscious. And then I said this word. And now realization only means that I get back to my originality and say, okay, I know I made a mistake, and next time, move ahead. It wouldn't take more than 30 seconds. It all depends how much we choose to live in pain because of what we did in the past. The other option, learn from it and now program yourself for what's going to happen next. Shift from guilt to realization, and realization to reformation. Live in the guilt. We think that, there are other people around us who will say, you're not even guilty for what you've done, which means guilt is good. And if somebody is still smiling and normal and, seems to be happy, people around us say, look at them. They're not even guilty for what they have done. So guilt has been driven into us as if it is the thing which needs to be done. So, and then we say guilty conscious. Conscious is never guilty. Conscience is pure. It's when I forget my conscious, I create guilt. So guilt, waste of time, waste of energy. And the more I live in that guilt, I'm living in the past.
You spoil your health. I spoiled my health. I had high blood pressure. I had palpitation every night, and then fibrillation of the heart. So many problems for it, continuous for a year.
What you experienced was because the emotion was so powerful that it was taking its toll on the body.
And there was a lot of love between us.
That's not the reason.
My brother and I, my relationship, my attachment was there.
But yes, but that need not be the reason for the guilt. A lot of people have a lot of attachment, but need not be necessary that they create this amount of guilt. It's independent. Yes, attachment. There could be two
Guilt
people.
plus pain plus hurt plus missing my brother and plus the traumatic experience of the accident.
Yeah. See, what happens in this case was because you did not heal it, it prolonged. If you would have healed it, okay, everybody feels pain. Everybody misses the person who's left. Everybody creates pain. And in this case, the person might create guilt. But the magnitude and the duration for which it went on was because it was not healed. And that's why it's so important to resolve our issues. They're not going to resolve on their own. You know what you would have said and what everybody around will say? Theek ho jayega. It will heal.
Is the greatest healer.
What does this line mean? Time is the greatest healer. How does time heal me? How can time heal me? Time is not even an entity. Time is not even an energy. Time is not even a vibration. What does the line mean? Time is the greatest healer. It just means I will take so much time to heal. Or I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to let the wound be. And then when it heals, it heals. It's like an injury here. I'm not going to take any medication. I'm not going to put any band-aid, anything, any antiseptic cream, nothing. Just let the wound be. And when it has to get healed, it will get healed. Then we use the line, time is the biggest healer. Otherwise, the line doesn't mean anything. There is no such thing as time. How can time heal? It just means I'm not going to make any effort to heal it. And the other easier thing would have been immediate medicine, immediate cream, and by tomorrow morning I would have been fine. But because I said it will heal on its own, it can take 2 days, 10 days, 20 days. And why it does not heal fast? This is something to be understood. There is a wound. I'm not taking any kind of medication, any kind of method to resolve it. The wound is there. Now, if there is a wound here and I say it will heal on its own, but I'm still living in this world. I'm still meeting people, still working, still doing everything. Stimuluses are still going to come, not the whole day. The wound is here and I haven't healed it. That means it's an open wound, and which means I'm walking around in this challenging world and this challenging field of relationships with an open wound. And that means every next stimulus, the wound is only going to get deeper. Now tell me, time heals or
it increases?
It increases the pain. You're moving with an open wound, which means I'm making myself vulnerable
to cancer.
Yes. I'm not healing it. It's a wound. I need to heal it before I come out into action again. Because otherwise I will not have the power to face everything else, and this will get deeper and deeper. So we really need to remove this line. Time will heal it. Time doesn't heal it. I heal it because I created it and I have the power to heal it. Knowledge, understanding, maybe the company, some people whose vibrations, whose understanding can help me. In this case, like what you shared, what would happen is, family also must be going through pain.
Everybody.
And most important, they will say, we understand. he is in so much pain. Because he was so attached to his brother, we understand what he's going through. And this thought, however natural it sounds, it's only a stamp which says, it's okay for you to be in pain.
No, my mother was very wise. She never knew any of my film producers, but she found out my film producer's phone number and asked her to call me for shooting.
Why, you had stopped working?
Well, those days I was not working. I don't know. People were scared to even ask me to come over. So she said, "Ki, why don't you start working with it so that, at home is all the time alone."
Yeah, so what is she trying to do? Taking that mind, playing the same recorder, the same song again and again, putting it somewhere else. This also helps to heal. Definitely. If anybody is in depression or idle, sitting in pain, the first thing that they need to do is get the mind to do something else. So we're going to do two things together. One, resolve that issue. And second, also use the mind in constructive work, something else, so that the mind will come out of that pattern which it's not being able to come out just sitting like this. There's no power to be able to break that cycle of thoughts. So take the mind somewhere else. Like we saw earlier, we can take it to a movie, we can take it to alcohol, yes, but in this case, take it to something constructive, because otherwise it's just not breaking. The pattern is not breaking. And doing it with understanding, I cannot be responsible for anything like this. It was a past karmic account. It was meant, the soul was meant to live on that day at that time, because that soul's account with this circle of souls was over. Stimulus could have been anything, that I asked him to sit in the car. Whatever, we have to keep on saying and teaching ourselves, counseling, so that the mind finally will get convinced. It's all about counseling ourselves, convincing the mind, moving it towards reality. It's the truth. These are not illusions. This is the truth. Showing the mind what is the truth. Because the mind is living in an illusion. The mind is saying to itself, I was responsible for what happened. And the truth is, not at all. Not at all. So someone has to hit the truth repeatedly to me, and I can do it to myself. The pattern will break. Otherwise, it can be very depleting for the soul. And this should be done soon. Let's not say, okay, after a few days they'll be okay. After a few months they will be fine. No, soon. Every passing moment in guilt is wastage of time and energy. And I'm depleting my power, which I need for the next moment in order to reform. We need energy to realize and reform. And I have no energy left if I've depleted it because of the guilt that I created. So we really need to begin working on ourselves. Let's stop getting angry with ourselves, because it's worse than any other emotion that we can create.
Guilt is being angry with yourself.
With yourself, 24 hours. 24 hours angry with yourself. And it's very tough to live with an angry person 24 hours.
Cursing myself.
Cursing myself.
Cursing the circumstances.
Really, cursing would be the word, not even anger. Anger is a mild word.
Cursing myself, cursing the circumstances, cursing why I was born, cursing gods, cursing everything. It was a life full of curse.
Not liking the past and not looking towards the future. I don't find anything positive, even in the future. So every thought that is getting created here is negative. How would the state of the mind be?
And then, poor my family, my wife and children.
Of course, it has an impact on everyone, because it's my state of being. It's going to radiate to everybody. But still, deepest impact on the soul who's creating it for themselves. Because see, other people, they will receive the vibrations, but it's their own thinking finally with which they live. But the soul who has to live with that guilt, it can be very tough. So whatever may have happened in the past, even if it was our mistake, it was a mistake. I'm not a bad person. separate the deed from the person.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who say that I did this to my mother, I did this to my father, because of me, he had a heart attack, because of I got married to so and so, he felt hurt and he died, and this and that.
Yeah, just the other day I was talking to someone and she said, I asked my father to come from the town to Delhi to get operated, and after the operation there was a slight complex problem there and the father left the body. And she said, I'm totally responsible for what happened. It was because of me. Had I not asked him to get operated, he would have been fine. The mind goes into a different way of thinking altogether.
Yeah. Sister, I would like to do in our next episode, this word responsibility you said right now. We do not take responsibility where we should.
Absolutely.
And here, we choose to be responsible that it was my mistake and I am so and so and I am so guilty about it. And where you teach us to take responsibility.
Because now, even if I've made a mistake, big mistake, what is my responsibility? To not repeat it again. And to not repeat it again, what do I need? Power. And to have power, I will have to stop this depletion of power. Only then will I have power. If I live in guilt, the next time my mistake is going to be bigger than last time, because the power of the soul keeps reducing. So immediately, what is it that can make me comfortable, protected, powerful, ready for the next situation?
Thank you so much, sister.
Thank you so much.
And this does need meditation, because guilt will not be able to. Guilt needs a lot of energy
To heal.
and you get energy only through meditation.
Let me sit back and look at myself. I have made mistakes. I have done things which were not right. But let me explain to myself now. It was only a mistake. I had forgotten my true self and disconnected from my original identity. I did something which was not right. I, the pure, beautiful soul, at that moment had forgotten who I am. But it's past. It's over. I learn from what I had done. And as I do so, I empower myself that I, the pure and powerful soul, am ready to meet the next situation, empowered to enact it a different way, realized and reformed, changed my sanskar with the power of realization. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Shanti.
Om Shanti.